Hey everybody, it's Dr. Tim Harrigan. I want to talk to you about potentially relearning things that we believe in, right? I think a lot of times we hear things in our life as we grow up and stuff, and they just kind of stick in us, right? It's like this sticky goo that kind of just lingers with us, and we kind of believe certain things that we've heard in the past, or maybe we heard our parents talking about something. So guys, this healthcare system that I use, the lasers, the chiropractic structural approach that we use for the nervous system and my physical body, exercise, eating healthy, the supplements, functional nutrition, doing blood tests on myself every quarter. I measure hundreds of things on myself every quarter to constantly optimize my health, okay? So one of the weird statements, I'll get back to that in a second, but one of the weird statements I've heard that you may have heard as well is once you go to a chiropractor, you always have to go, okay? Just think about that. Some people say, yeah, I don't want to go to a chiropractor because once you go, you always have to go. It's like, do you know how ridiculous that sounds to somebody like me? You know, my kids have not had even an ibuprofen or Tylenol in their tiny little bodies. My 12 and under, 12 to 7, my 4 children have never had a medication in their body because of this. I haven't had a prescription in my life in over 25 years now. My wife was told she would never have children. She no longer has PCOS and endometriosis because of her lifestyle changes that we made. How do you think that sounds to me if somebody says, well, once I go to you, you always have to go? You know how ridiculous that sounds? You know, that's like saying once you start exercising and I exercise for a year and I get into shape maybe or better shape, well, then you always have to do it. It's like saying, well, once you start eating healthy, well, then you always have to do it. Well, of course you do, if you want the benefit from it. So it's just a weird comment. I think some of these things are even unconscious to us. We hear these statements and, you know, these stereotypes of different professions, and I'm guilty, trust me, but it's just not true. Once you go to a chiropractor, you always have to go. It's kind of true if you want the benefit from it. No different than exercise or eating healthy, but our human frame, our physical body, our nervous system and structure, most people don't take care of it, and that's not good. So it's something you want to constantly take care of throughout your whole life. Just like my kids, they get adjusted every week. They haven't used a medication either. There's something to it maybe if you live this way and it gets this result, right? So we will absolutely always go to chiropractors, just as we will always do functional nutrition on our bodies, constantly measure things and try to optimize them instead of waiting until I get sick to do something. And especially with your spine. Here's how silly that comment is. You get one spine. It is irreplaceable. If you wear out your knees over time, wear out my shoulder, you can pretty much replace almost every body part now, except your spine. You're born with one. So by the time it starts deteriorating, getting bone spurs, thinning discs, it's irreversible to some degree. It's irreplaceable 100% of the time. Some of it you can make better. It's so much easier to keep that from happening. But taking care of your spine, going to chiropractors, and there's bad chiropractors. I've been to bad chiropractors. Just like in every profession, there's bad people in that profession. I've been to bad ones. I get it. But taking care of your spine and going to chiropractors, good ones, is essential. It's essential. There's no replacement for it because it's no different than waiting for a heart attack and eating 5, cheeseburgers every day for 30 years and having a heart attack and then finally working on my heart disease, but waiting for that event to happen to do it. Doesn't make any sense. Here's another crazy thing. Your spine, the most common cause of disability, you guys, the most common cause of disability of anybody 50 or older is spinal related issues. So do you think we need to go to chiropractors? Well, absolutely. When 10% of the population goes, you get a certain result. Others are not. They're waiting for the severe issues in their spine to finally start doing something about it. And again, that's like waiting for the heart attack to happen before I start working on those clogged arteries. It just doesn't make sense. So once you go to a chiropractor, you always have to go? Well, kind of, again, if you want the benefit. So it's just, there's a lot of weird comments like that and stereotypes with different professions. And just be careful with those because they kind of sneak into our unconscious sometimes. Thanks, guys.